Hi, everybody. Michelle here from michellesmidheaven.com, and I want to talk about the upcoming Venus-Jupiter conjunction today and what it means for us when that conjunction is receiving what we call a superior whole sign square from Saturn. And that is giving off a no good deed goes unpunished vibe for me. As always, we need to pay attention to the context. Conjunctions and aspects don't happen in isolation, so we need to look at all the other things that are happening in the sky. What are the other planets doing that might have an effect on the Venus-Jupiter conjunction? Well, Saturn might play a significant role here. Now, in general, when the benefic planets come together, things tend to unfold with a lot less effort. For good as well as for bad, actually. Venus and Jupiter meet every year, usually about every 14 months, sometimes only 10 months. But in any case, there's a conjunction every year, and you'll notice how the conjunctions between the benefics drift farther and farther away from Saturn each year. And this is because Saturn moves much more slowly, so he's lagging behind, right? For example, just to give you a visual of what I'm talking about, here you'll see a chart from February 2021, and the Venus-Jupiter conjunction happened in Aquarius while Saturn was co-present in Aquarius. And the years after that, you'll see the Venus-Jupiter conjunction gradually separate from Saturn. In April 2022, in Pisces, the benefics are in an aversion to Saturn. And in April 2022, so for example, this was when the US announced the end of the pandemic phase. But as you can see, Mars is also there. Mars is in Pisces with the benefics. And so that has also marked one of the escalations in the war between Russia and the Ukraine. So just to say that we can understand Venus and Jupiter as facilitators. Whatever the situation or whatever the process is that is going on, whether positive or negative, they're going to make the process easier, or they're going to incite or accelerate the process because they always support the decisions that we make. So ultimately, the responsibility is ours, right? So again, the conjunctions are moving farther and farther away from Saturn. And here's the one in March 2023 in Aries. And of course, it's worth noting where the conjunction falls in your personal chart. Very brief example, the benefic conjunction in 2023 fell close to this guy's ascendant right here. This is Scott Adams' natal chart, and Scott Adams was the cartoonist who created Dilbert. And he actually got canceled in the lead up to the conjunction. So the context of the natal chart is very important when you want to determine whether the Venus-Jupiter conjunction is destined to turn out in your favor or not. So what do I mean by that? Well, Scott's first house is ruled by a fallen Mars in Cancer. So this is a very controversial Mars. And Mars is activated by the planets that transit the signs that Mars is ruling. So when Venus and Jupiter come along and meet in Mars' sign, like they did here, all they're going to do is facilitate Mars' work. So this is something you can pay attention to in your chart. And by the way, you can learn about all of this, how I read and interpret transits in my class, Mastering Transits, which is available in my shop. I'll post a link below if you're interested. And of course, I'm also available for readings. All right, so check out where the upcoming conjunction in Cancer falls in your birth chart and where the moon, the ruler of Cancer, is located in your chart. Your natal moon is going to offer some interesting clues as to how the benefic conjunction in Cancer is going to unfold. Now, in general, we notice that last year and this year, Venus and Jupiter are meeting while Saturn can see them from a square, a whole sign square aspect. And this is a special, very, very powerful square. If you count the signs in zodiacal counterclockwise order from Cancer to Leo to Virgo to Libra and so on, you'll find that Saturn lands in the 10th sign from Cancer. And for ancient astrologers, this was incredibly powerful, even without a degree-based aspect. We don't even have to look at the specific degrees. Saturn is upon the 10th, as ancient astrologers would say, or Saturn is decimating Venus and Jupiter. You can interpret it as Saturn demanding something from the benefics. Saturn exacts a toll from them. The benefics can do their thing, but there will be a price to pay. Or their success is conditional. Or a really nice opportunity arises, but it falls through, or you miss the momentum. So take a moment to see what happened last year around mid-August. And this is actually what the conjunction chart looked like last year in August. Venus and Jupiter meet at 14 degrees of Cancer, and Saturn is in Aries upon the 10th, or in that infamous superior whole sign square. For me personally, at least, it was a textbook event because somebody reached out to me with a great offer, actually, that would help me with my work as an astrologer. A really lovely gift from the benefics that sounded very promising, I thought. But eventually, it didn't happen. It simply fizzled out. So maybe something similar happened to you around that time. So let me know in the comments. I'll be curious to hear all about it. And then this year, on June 9th, to be precise, the benefic conjunction happens at 25 degrees of Cancer and within half a degree of fixed star Procyon, which happens to be a star that indicates brief success. It's telling us that you really have to catch that benefic momentum. Don't let it slip away because there's only going to be a brief opportunity. And by the way, keep your eyes open for any kind of symbolism related to dogs. Procyon is often associated with puppies. Saturn will be at 12 degrees of Aries, making a superior whole sign square to the benefics this year. So just like last year, but this time the moon will be in Aries, signaling Saturn's importance. So this is exactly why I want to pay a little more attention to Saturn. And through her presence in Aries, the moon also activates her ruler Mars, plus Mercury, who is co-present with the benefics, and Mercury will even be in a tight square to Saturn. Plus, in contrast to last year when Saturn was retrograde, Saturn is now direct, which makes Saturn more powerful in general. All of that indicates that Saturn's demands will definitely play a role, which means that, again, some very nice benefic opportunities may fall through or they may be blocked, or there are some conditions and obligations attached to those opportunities. Something really nice is promised, but is going to take time, or ultimately is going to be a little less successful than expected. But this does not mean that everything is going to fail. It simply means that the benefic conjunction is kind of lacking the effortlessness that it wants to offer. So don't lose hope. Good things are bound to come up. It just means that you are going to give it a bit of support. It's not simply going to land in your lap. Some effort is needed. Not blood, sweat, and tears, all right? Just a bit of an extra push. Since the moon and Mercury are both connecting with Saturn, keep your ears open for messages coming from older people, older women in particular, maybe, or people who have a critical take on your situation or your circumstances. They may offer you valuable information. Now, 25 degrees of Cancer, that's the exact degree as well, where Jupiter stationed retrograde on November 11th last year. So definitely be sure to check what happened around that time. Any type of shift or situation that got reversed in November of last year may come up again in June, maybe like a second chance, actually. Just remember, again, that some effort may be required to make that happen. And I also want to share what came up for me pretty strongly when I was contemplating Venus and Jupiter together in the moon sign of Cancer. They're super sweet and open, trying to make life easier for us, but squared by Saturn, who is revealing the consequences of all that openness and kindness and all of our good intentions, this is not a kind world. And kindness is not always appreciated or respected. Saturn may punish kindness, and that may seem unfair, but Saturn is simply reminding us of the reality of our circumstances. You cannot smile your way out of a situation. You can't keep avoiding the parts you don't like. So be aware of what you're unconsciously growing and cultivating precisely because you're ignoring or avoiding it. I really feel that's the message the chart of this year's conjunction is offering us. We would all like to be blissfully free from all pain and suffering, but by holding on to lofty ideals and formulas for happiness, we're actually keeping the suffering alive. Keeping one without the other seems to be impossible. And also, make the best of this conjunction because next year's Venus-Jupiter conjunction looks very unfortunate, to say the least. They'll both be debilitated in Virgo. So this is it. Embrace this time and put in some extra effort to make all of your personal Venus and Jupiter business happen right now. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like. Maybe subscribe, and why don't you get in touch with me for a personal reading? That's why I am here. Have a wonderful week.